The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Glenn spoke earlier and was asked who his quarterback is for the Jets game on Sunday against the Bengals, and well, he's not sure. We'll talk about the latest and what the Jets should do. It's the Jake Asman Show, show number 2 on the day. Let's hit it and get it started.
What did you think of the offensive play call in the last 2 games?
That's a good question.
How much worse can it get for Aaron Glenn's Jets team? Can he salvage this season and give us something to be excited about? Every step of the journey, the Jake Asman Show will have you covered, breaking down all the storylines of every game and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now. Here we go, Jet fans. Show number 2 on the day. Big thank you to everyone who still tunes in to hear us discuss the latest on an 0-7 team. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Jets of the Bengals next Sunday. Who's the starting quarterback for the New York Jets? Well, let's go to Aaron Glenn, who spoke earlier today and was asked that very question.
Where are you at in terms of the quarterback decision?
Well, that's something that, I want to continue to look at. Again, it's early on Monday, so I said this yesterday that there's a lot of thought that goes into that. For me personally, and then being able to get with the staff, and then just being able to ask other coaches that have been in the situation about how they handle that. So I'm not running away from the question at all, Rich. The thing is, I want to make sure that I make the right decision, and I don't want to make rash decisions either. So I just want to make sure when the decision is made, it'll be the right one, and you guys will know that real soon.
Okay, so he has not made a decision yet. He's still deciding. Why does he need to call other coaches, though? Just talk to the coaches you have on your staff now. You hired them. Talk to Tanner Engstrand. Talk to the quarterback coach and make a decision. Is he going to call up Bill Parcells and say, hey, Bill, what would you do? I mean, Justin Fields was your handpicked guy. You wanted him. That was the move you determined that your franchise needed to make after you moved on from Aaron Rodgers. We understood Fields presented some upside, right? That's your guy. Tyrod is a stable veteran. Who gives you the best chance to win? To me, it has to be Tyrod Taylor starting on Sunday. Not that I think he's that much better than Justin Fields, but Fields, he looks like Zach Wilson did at the end of his Jets tenure, where he has that look where he just does not look like he has enough confidence in himself to play the position at a competent level. Whereas Tyrod Taylor is not great, but he is at least not afraid out there. He'll be able to play the position. You can run your offense with Tyrod. You don't need to make any adjustments in your play calling as far as your downfield passing attack with Tyrod Taylor. Now, you could be critical of Tanner Engstrand's play calling and not getting certain players like Breece Hall the ball, all that. But as far as just being able to operate the offense, to me, Tyrod Taylor should start, because I think if you give Tyrod Taylor a full week of prep, he has a better chance to play better than Justin Fields does at this point. I honestly think there's a compelling argument to be made that if Aaron Glenn had benched Justin Fields at halftime in the game against Denver in London, they win that game. And if he gave Tyrod Taylor the full week to prepare to play this past game, there's a chance the Jets would have won on Sunday, aka yesterday, against Carolina. We'll never know. I am convinced, though, and I think anyone watching the show would agree, if they had made the move to Tyrod at any point in the second half last week, they likely win. And now you're at 0-7. It's only the 3rd time in franchise history that you've been this bad. The other 2 times was 2020, where you finished with 2 wins, and 1996 with Kotite, when you finished with 1 win. I think you got to give Tyrod a real chance here. You don't owe Justin Fields anything. You paid him $30 million fully guaranteed. That's what the money's for. Now go be a good soldier and sit on the bench, because you're not getting it done. the Jets have not scored a touchdown in 2 games. They have not scored a non-garbage time touchdown since the game against Miami when they were trailing 17-3 in the third quarter and Fields had a long scramble on a broken play. They have not scored a first half touchdown since week 1. They're averaging less than 6 points per game through the first 3 quarters of the game. All their offensive production has been in garbage time, despite what the head coach has tried to say about that. He's wrong, or he's gaslighting us, which he does a lot. I think you need to start Tyrod. Look, neither are great options. We all can acknowledge that. The thumbnail has quarterback hell in it for a reason. But I think if you're Aaron Glenn, you're trying to save your job right now, right? You can't, I don't think, start Fields given how he's looked now for how many games in a row. Tyrod, at least yesterday, you looked functional at times. You moved the ball a little bit. He threw it up there and gave his players some chances to make some plays. You know, expecting him to come in cold off the bench and go out there and be great is probably unfair. Just like last week to those now saying, well, if Glenn went to Tyrod, you just saw yesterday, it wouldn't have necessarily worked if he did it against the Broncos. Different scenarios, man. We needed Tyrod to complete a pass in London. Yesterday, you needed him to lead a comeback when you were down 2 scores in this game. At least Tyrod Taylor will throw the ball downfield. That's really my big thing. Like, you're probably not going to win either way. But I would say this. Which quarterback is able to give you a more entertaining version of losing? I think it's Tyrod Taylor, as sad as this is. Like, these options are not great. We understand that. But I think you got to put Tyrod in and start getting Brady Cook ready to play at some point later in this year. Because why not? But it's amazing how far we have fallen with this coach and Justin Fields. Remember, this is a guy who was very arrogant and said over and over again that they were going to let Justin Fields play quarterback, that he's never really been coached properly, which is insinuating that the Steelers don't know what they're doing. When, by the way, Mike Tomlin went 4-2 with Justin Fields. We dream of the days that the Jets could get off to a 4-2 start. Insinuated that the Bears didn't know what they were doing, which might be true, but that doesn't mean you, Aaron Glenn, Tanner Angstrom, et cetera, know what you're doing with this quarterback. Because as bad as Justin Fields has been, he's never been this bad. So what happened? How are they coaching him that now he was like afraid to throw the ball? I don't know. But I think Fields kind of reminds me of Zach Wilson when it became so clear in 2023 and really even the end of 2022 when they finally did bench Zach and only had to go back to him because Mike White got hurt, where it just feels like he's broken. So I don't know if Tyrod is the answer. I know he's not the long-term answer. I think he's the answer for this week, though, as far as who gives you a better chance to win. And I think ultimately Aaron Glenn needs to win games, man. He can't win games in late December. That doesn't do anything at that point. If he's going to save his job here and avoid, being a one-and-done coach, they got to win some football games. And it starts now. You can't go into your bye week 0-8. It's going to get loud for 2 weeks. Real loud. You got to do everything in your power to try and win a game. And I know no one thinks they're going to. Why would you? But you got to do everything in your power to try and not be 0-8 at the bye. Where are the wins coming from if you can't win these upcoming games here? Yesterday was a very winnable game. Carolina's not a great team. They hadn't won a game on the road all year. Cincinnati, I understand they look good on Thursday Night Football, but Thursday Night Football is weird. The Jets even won 2 games on Thursday Night Football last year, right? Like, you're only a 4.5-point underdog in this game Sunday. It's not, 16.5, right? Like, it's the NFL, man. Crazy things happen, but we act like, the Jets, they have no chance. Well, if we all feel that way, then what's the argument for keeping this current regime if this doesn't change, right? Like, to me, play Tyrod, hope that Garrett Wilson maybe is back this week, and hope your defense and special teams can play out of their minds. I mean, that's really it. But it's all just hope. Nothing tangible you could point to that this team does well right now. I mean, you lost to a Panthers team whose starting quarterback was 1-15 on the road going into that game yesterday. They had the longest streak in the NFL of not winning when they've been a favorite in a game, and that got snapped yesterday. I mean, it's bad, man. It's bad. Aaron Glenn, he can't make the decision. He's got to call a bunch of coaches first. What did you hire him to be the head coach for? Once again, like that answer, if it was just like an isolated thing, I don't think it would bother me or some fans. But like, dude, you're the head coach. You came in puffing your chest out. We're the New York Jets. We're built for this. We're going to win now. He's taking shots at the previous coaching staff, talking about the penalty problems, talking about how undisciplined they were. Remember, Will McDonald had the bull rush move, and he's like, it's coaching, man. It's coaching. But you got to call other coaches before you could make a decision on who your starting quarterback is. Talk to your staff. That's why they're here. Like, I don't think Glenn's answers at the podium would bother us as much if he didn't completely change his entire tone and bravado and attitude from where it originally was. And that's so disappointing because he honestly is helping to dig his own grave in a sense, because the expectations were pretty low, but he talked them up higher than they probably needed to be. Probably should have taken the Shane Steichen approach with the Colts. No one was talking about them, and now Daniel Jones is one of the favorites to win the MVP right now in the NFL. And Steichen's the favorite to win comeback or your favorite to win coach of the year. Like, you could have been, under the radar a little bit. But I think Glenn's words with the fan base, I don't think they did him any favors. I don't. But I went back to some comments Glenn made in the offseason about Fields in particular. And let's start with this, right? Because as we now move forward, we're no longer talking about what to make of the season. We know the season's going nowhere. It's a matter of, does this head coach, general manager, do they survive the year? Right? We know the Jets are the only team in the NFL without a win. We know that they are right now projected to pick number 1 in the NFL draft. We know the recent history of teams with the first pick in the draft who take a quarterback and what that has looked like. We saw what Tennessee did last week after they took Cam Ward first overall. Like, we know the history. What we're now looking to see is, does this coach show any sort of competency? And his evaluation on Fields from the beginning has been dead wrong. Listen to this.
What do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner.
A winner is what he looks for in a quarterback. He's not a guy who won nothing. And jettisoned a guy who's won a Super Bowl and 4 MVPs. Which is his prerogative. He could do it. But then don't sell us on Fields. This was Aaron Glenn talking about Justin Fields during minicamp back in June.
He can galvanize a group of men. Listen, obviously he's a talented player. And listen, I'm happy that I have him as my quarterback. I really am. Because I think the sky's the limit for this player. I really do. Listen, I'm not going to go out there and say that he's the next Joe Namath or anything like that. But I will tell you what, man, he's going to be a good player for us. And I'm excited what he's going to do for us this season.
How did you get it that wrong, right? And now we're supposed to trust you to pick a quarterback. And this is a complicated year to pick a quarterback, too. I know Mendoza is the new hot flavor of the month, but if he throws an interception this week, fans will turn on him because that's what we do as fans, right? We overreact. There's no obvious top QB. This is not, the Trevor Lawrence year, the last time the Jets were this bad. People will have various opinions. Fans, media, NFL executives, coaches, right? Everyone's going to not have the clear cut, oh, this is a Trevor Lawrence, you take him number 1, or Caleb Williams, or Andrew Luck. So they got to pick the right quarterback. And my biggest fear, and I said this to Joe Beningo in his weekly spot this morning on this very program, they could pick the right quarterback, and we might not know if the coaching's horrible until years from now. See Sam Darnold. He was the right pick. Mike McCagnon was awful at his job. The one thing he got right was Sam Darnold was a franchise quarterback, and he traded up for him. But Mike McCagnon failed Sam Darnold by not putting the right pieces around him. And then Joe Douglas blew it with Adam Gase. And look, Gase hired Douglas, but Douglas never put enough of a team around Sam, and he got rid of him to draft Zach Wilson, and the rest is history. So that's what fears me, that really concerns me, right? It's like that we know they're going to take a quarterback, but why are we delaying what feels like the inevitable with this regime right now? Barring something dramatically changing, what are we doing? Right? Like, what are we doing contemplating allowing this regime to survive a 2-win season? Because, like, how many more games are the Jets realistically going to win? I still don't think they're going to go winless, right? But think about it like this for a moment. 2 other times in Jet history, they started 0-7. Once again, 2020, they won 2 football games. These were in 16-game seasons, obviously. 96, they won 1 game. This team's not winning more than 3 games. They're not. I understand there's 10 games left. They're not going to win more than 3 games. Saleh, with a way worse team, his first year won 4 games. We watched Adam Gase win 2 with a way worse team. There's talent on this team. I don't know why you would even consider bringing anyone back unless they start showing improvement immediately. There's zero reason a team that had 8 of its 11 starters back on defense, including a former first-team All-Pro at all 3 levels, should finish with 3 wins or fewer. The 2020 roster stunk. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas referred to it as an expansion-level roster in 2020. It was. It was Quinnen Williams and who? Frank Gore. So I can't accept, if they're awful, you just bring everyone back. Like, the Patriots moved on from a franchise legend after a year. They don't regret it. The Broncos moved on from Nate Hackett in the middle of his first year. Right now, Aaron Glenn is defensive Nate Hackett. So I don't like saying this, but I'll continue to say it because I don't want to do let's see, we got to be patient. I'm tired of being patient, man. You actually have an opportunity to do a true reset of your organization. If you're sitting there with the number 1 pick and you're sitting there with all this cap space the Jets will have, and you're sitting there with a Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor combination already locked in, an offensive line with legit talent on it, defensive talent, that's not a bad job. That's not a bad starting point for anyone, especially if you like one of these quarterbacks. So we really got to see some significant improvement here. And when I hear Aaron Glenn talk about the quarterback situation, when I hear Aaron Glenn not have any feel for the game, having complete inconsistencies with how he wants to coach, how bad this team offensively is. And you could say, well, he's a defensive guy. He said himself that he's a head coach. He coaches the whole team. I could coach offense too. So if I'm going to take the head coach at his word, what can I point to? How many times have we seen the Jets during this disastrous 15-year playoff drought be so awful offensively in a league that is built to score points? You are about to draft a quarterback, likely first overall, if not certainly in the top 3. Get him a real offensive coach. There's guys out there. Set your quarterback up to have a chance, man. Robbie Sabo made this point, and I was thinking about it, and I think he's right. As bad as Adam Gase was as a hire, right? Christopher Johnson, who made that hire, he at least had the right idea on, let's get an offensive guy to coach Sam Darnold, right? An offensive guy with previous head coaching experience. Now, he picked the wrong guy, and anyone with a brain could have told him, hey, man, like the idea, Mike McCarthy wants this job, they'll hire him instead of Adam Gase, right? But at least Christopher had the wherewithal to go, we have Sam Darnold. He looked good at the end of his rookie year, but Bowles wasn't the guy we don't think to take us to the next level. Let's get a real offensive coach. You could do that now, but don't have to waste a year. You could turn this around in a year if you hit on the quarterback and get the coach right. Houston just did it. Washington just did it. They were the second pick in the draft when they took Jaden Daniels. They were in the NFC title game a year ago. You could turn this around quick. Andrew Luck went 11-5 his first year starting. This doesn't need to be another 3 to 4 years of, I don't know. You could turn it around quick if you get it right. And if it means you have to bottom out to do it, then I understand why those are rooting for losses. I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn to turn it around and prove he's a good coach. Because then I always have believed now the last few years, you don't need a top pick to necessarily get the quarterback. You don't need the tank for a quarterback if your organization knows what they're doing. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, none of those teams needed to be awful to get their quarterbacks. Most of the time, tanking and taking the top guy, number one overall, does not work. So I'm still rooting for competency from the coach, but I just don't see it. And honestly, I don't trust Woody Johnson to admit he screwed up with this hire if this team finishes with 2 or 3 wins. I think at that point, they still probably should clean house because you're going to take a quarterback that high. But I don't know if he would do it. But 0-17, I think he'd have no choice but to do it. And an empty MetLife Stadium, which is what it was yesterday, and especially once the third quarter got underway, there's still 4 more home games. If it continues to look like that, I think he might be forced to make a move. So it is a tough time to be a fan of this team because on one hand, you don't want to see Aaron Glenn fail. He's a franchise legend who wanted the job. But on the other hand, if him failing to the point where the owner can't make any excuse to try and warrant bringing him back means you could legitimately bring in a real offensive coach, that's the best path for the Jets to turn it around. And look, the Washington Commanders, they didn't do it necessarily with a offensive coach, but Dan Quinn had been to a Super Bowl. He was experienced, and he hired a great coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury. And that's how the Patriots have done it too. Vrabel is not an offensive guy. He could coach the whole team, though, but he got an experienced offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels. So, I prefer an offensive guy with experience, but, hiring a great coach is hiring a great coach. But right now, I don't think Aaron Glenn's a great coach, and I don't see him ever being a great coach. He didn't know how long the field goal was in London at the end of the game last week. He thought it was 65 or 68 yards. It was 61. Yesterday, he's going for it on 4th and 5 at the beginning of the game and said it was predetermined. They wanted to be aggressive because they loved their 4th down plays. And then this guy, before halftime for the second week in a row with a timeout in his pocket, is sitting on the clock. You're 0-6 at the time, Aaron. What are you doing? Be aggressive. Try and win. You have nothing to lose. You could see some of the players are starting to really question him. That moment with Garrett Wilson was alarming. Being like, what are we doing? And then even afterwards, Garrett, who's a captain on the team, is like, I didn't know the plan. And then when I learned the plan, I didn't like it. Yeah. There's so many examples of Glenn just not having any feel, man. How about this past week? He's talking about, how come you guys don't talk about Lamar and Allen's time to throw? What? How about his quote 2 weeks ago when they asked him about all the garbage time production, and he said, no, that's not true. Teams are still trying to get stops at that point. And we all see it, man. You haven't scored a first-half touchdown since week 1. You're supposed to have a feel for the entire team. You claim to understand the NFL in 2025. I think Aaron Glenn might have been a really good head coach in 1998, 1996, 97, right? When you could still just be a rah-rah, physical, smash-mouth football. That doesn't win in 2025 anymore. You need a running game. You can't be led by your running game. It doesn't work. And this quarterback is so inaccurate and so deficient as a drop-back quarterback that teams are just selling out to stop the run. It's making the Jet O-line look awful. They're not nearly as bad as what some of these sack numbers will tell you. It's because teams know whether it's Fields or whether it's Tyrod Taylor, they hold on to the ball for a long time. And you sell out to stop the run and challenge them. At least Tyrod will throw it downfield, but Fields didn't. And that's why he needed to be benched. And I keep going back to that interaction where Glenn thought it was so ridiculous for Brian Costello of the New York Post to ask him about potentially sitting Justin Fields against Carolina, and he sat him down 2 quarters later. It is so bad right now, man. So whenever Aaron Glenn gets done calling old coaches who haven't been relevant in 20, 30 years, I think he needs to start Tyrod Taylor this week. And I don't know if it will make a difference. It probably won't. But I don't think you could go to Justin Fields for another game. I think at that point, you start to really wonder, is he going to lose the locker room? He had to bench him at halftime. I'll give him credit for that. That was the right move. He did the right thing. But I don't think you can go back to Justin Fields this week. I don't.
For me personally, being able to ask other coaches that have been in this situation, how would they handle that?
Oh, the pain. Comments, questions, super chats. They'll cut the line. Shout out to Gator for the curb your enthusiasm bit. Goldies Tavern, New York City. I don't know who the Jet quarterback will be, but I know we're going to have a good time. We'll commiserate and watch our crappy football team all together. Anyone who shows up in Jets or Asmaniac gear gets a free beer. Halftime, we raffle away a signed Breece Hall jersey, a Wayne Corbett football, Kevin Mawai jersey. I also added, and I don't have a photo of it handy, but it is a signed Joe Klecko photo that we will give away. So bunch of great giveaways, bunch of you RSVP'd. Beningo will be there. So if you want to meet Joe B and watch the Jets and the Bengals with us, Goldies Tavern. The address is there on the graphic. It's 135 West 30th Street. It's right next to Penn Station, right down the block. So easy to get to. And we'll have some fun. David says, Glenn called Parcells, and Bill said you are where your record says you are. Yeah, I mean, that's the case. Aaron Glenn's not very good, huh? 0-7. 0-7. Hard to believe, but that is the Jet record, man. And this team is so much better than the last time they were 0-7. I lived through the Gase year. It wasn't that long ago. It was 5 years ago. In some respects, it feels like a long time ago. And in some respects, it doesn't. Thankfully, I didn't have to experience 96. I was 1 year old. But this team has more talent than some of these teams that have worse records than the Jets. Or better records than the Jets, excuse me. All right, I'm going to get to your super chats. Let me tell you about the giveaway today. It is a Jets jersey of your choosing. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams. You pick the player. We send you the jersey. And this is the last show for you to enter for your chance to win any of our weekly prizes tomorrow on the first show with Robbie Sabo. It's a signed Joe Namath helmet, signed Wayne Corbett helmet, and a signed Jermaine Johnson jersey. So gift away to the community or send in a super chat or higher, and you will be entered for both the jersey giveaway coming up and our giveaway for the 3 signed items tomorrow. Marshall starts us off and says, hopefully they draft a multi-season starter at QB instead of a one-year hype QB. Look, I couldn't even tell you who they're going to draft. But to your point, whoever they draft, hopefully that is someone that, whether we like the pick or not, whoever they pick, they have full conviction in, and the people making that pick, actually, we feel confident in their decision-making process. That's it. Quarterback could be such a crapshoot. I think so much of it, as we've learned, is where are they going? Who's surrounding them with players? Who's the offensive play caller? Is it the head coach? Is it a coordinator? I think it matters. But the idea that this is some sort of long-term rebuild, right? Like Glenn's now trying to sell you on how, it's going to turn. Just takes time. Nah, man. Quite literally, it has never taken this long for any Jet head coach to get their first win. The record was 0-4. No Jet coach in their first year coaching the Jets ever started worse than 0-4. Aaron Glenn's 0-7. And let's be honest, a lot of these games haven't been particularly close. Don't tell me what the final score is. Watch the games. Watch the garbage time production, the fake comeback against the Bucs. Took a miracle play. It's very deceiving. They played one complete game this year, where, to quote Aaron Glenn, if they played that way the rest of the year, they're going to win a lot of games. Well, they haven't played that way since. Remember, he said that. We play this way in our remaining games, we're going to have a chance to win a lot of games this season. He also said that he wants Jet fans to evaluate the team on whether or not we're proud to watch them, proud to be supporting them. Is there anyone out there that could say that? Unless you're just a team shill. It's a unmitigated disaster right now. And this fan base, once again, gets the short end of the stick every time. Hexen says, if Stefanski, McCarthy, Harbaugh, Kingsbury are all available in 2026, which is the best pick? Unfortunately, something to be thinking about. Well, one, who wants the job, right? And two, what is their plan for quarterback? If all those names are available, I think I would lean with Kevin Stefanski because I think he's a proven offensive guy who's been a 2-time coach of the year. He won in Cleveland, right? Went to the playoffs 2 times there. You can win in Cleveland and get them to the playoffs. You can get the Jets to the playoffs. Now, McCarthy's intriguing because he handled Jerry Jones and he's won a lot of games. I'd be good with any of those guys. I think Kingsbury might be 4th on my list. Harbaugh, I think, is excellent. I know he's not an offensive guy per se, but guys won a lot of games, man, with different quarterbacks. I'm not going to poo-poo any of those names. Cliff, I think, does deserve another opportunity. He's worked with some great quarterbacks in his career. So I am someone that is not going to be that upset with any of those names, man. Are you kidding me? They're all significant upgrades over what we've seen. Mike writes, and the fact that a lot of quarterbacks are coming out and that don't have a lot of starts scares me. And that's the last thing we need, drafting a quarterback to this organization with no playing time or situational awareness. Well, let me say this. Mendoza at least has had a lot of games started, if you look at him. Now, Simpson, I think, is just in his first year starting, but that doesn't mean he can't be good. Yeah, that's where you need to trust the people evaluating these players, that they have a clue what they're doing. The Human Fund in the house. He gifted a membership. Thank you, Human Fund. He's in the raffle for one. Shane Tuttle says, paid to go to the game in section 128. Stadium was empty. This team should not be 0-7. No. But the Glenn defenders will tell you this is like all part of the plan. There's like a subsection of like this Jet fan base. Maybe they're just on Twitter where you have a lot of utter morons out there that are like convinced this is some sort of like grand conspiracy, that this was the plan all along. If you think the Jets' plan was to be a national embarrassment again, you have no clue what you're talking about. There's no generational can't-miss quarterback the Jets need to get. There's a debate who that guy is. Also, if this was their plan, why did Woody pay Justin Fields $40 million, 30 of it guaranteed? He could have just said, play Tyrod Taylor and then Brady Cook. Tyrod's under contract already. It wouldn't have cost him anything. If they were trying to tank, why did they split Aaron Rodgers' cap money up over 2 years? Why not absorb it all this year if you're going to be bad? So they're not trying to tank. They're just awful. That's the bottom line. They're just awful. This is not part of the plan. Someone said this earlier. I forget who, or I'd give them credit on the first show. If the Jets ever did have a plan to try and tank, that'd be the year they win 10 games and go to the playoffs. like that's what this franchise does. FPP says, I feel bad for Jet fans. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for everyone who tunes in and supports this channel and this great community. We all deserve better. But 0-7 is not part of the plan. Come on now. Get off to the 3rd worst start in franchise history. You think Aaron Glenn wants to be 0-7, not have a win? Come on. I think the fact that some fans think he's tanking tells you how bad it's looked, that they can't defend him as a coach. So their only retort is, well, this is part of the plan, they're tanking. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so bad, we can't defend him as a coach. So let's say he's doing it on purpose being this bad. I mean, man, tough, real tough. This show will not be as long as usual. I'm filling in for Stephen A. on Mad Dog Sports Radio from 6 to 8 Eastern tonight. Right now it's 4:41 Eastern. We'll go till about 5:30. Then I got to get off and finish my prep for the radio show. I will be talking about the Jets tonight, so if you guys want to call in, you can. I'll preview tonight's Game 7 of the ALCS. Go Mariners. And I'll give you some big takeaways from around the league, week number 7 in the NFL. Plus, we got a doubleheader on Monday Night Football tonight. So, action-packed radio show, 6 to 8, Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM Channel 82 or the SiriusXM app. All right. Super chat from Jack. He writes in, watch out. Miami is strategically positioned themselves to draft Mendoza. He's from Miami. I mean, Miami is brutal right now, right? That game between the Jets and the Dolphins, the day the Jets are going to wear the rivalry jerseys on December 7th, that could be for the number one pick. It could. Now, the Jets also have to worry about New Orleans. They're pretty awful too. You know, it's pretty funny. I'm seeing people in the comments writing which coaches Glenn called to get advice from. Someone wrote Dick Duran. Good Lord. He's calling Adam Gase. He's calling Rich Kotite. Oh, man. He's calling Nate Hackett. He's calling Lou Holtz. Brutal. We don't laugh, we'll cry. Let's get to your calls, shall we? Pork in the Morning is first up today on the program. Hello, Pork. Pork? Pork, we can't hear you. Call back. All right, no Pork. Instead, let's go to our guy, Tommy, who was at the yesterday. What's up, Tommy?
Jake, what's good, brother?
What's up, man? Good to see you yesterday. Thanks for coming by.
Definitely. I appreciate seeing you. I appreciate seeing Nick shine. And what made my day was having a Luppy, and I had Kyle Clifton. And I don't want to miss anybody, but there was tons of Jets fans that came over to me, and I showed up an hour late because I literally got into the stadium, Jake, right? And I said to the like when Nick Shine says, like, just hop into a little golf cart. I said, bring me to lot E26. I gave him $5. You know where he took me to? By Izod Center. By Izod. It was lot 26, yes, but it wasn't E26. So then I had to walk my ass all the way from the other side of the stadium by where Izod Center is, and I had to walk across the tunnel and get back to where you guys were at, lot E26. So I'm like, yeah, well, it was what it was. But when I walked over there, I saw Mr. Beningo and his wife, Terry, and I got a picture with him. He let me take a picture. Very nice people. Beautiful people. Because Joe Beningo didn't have to do that. He didn't have to take a picture with me. And I was like, I'm going to send it to you. And he's like, I don't even know where you're going to send it to. Just send it to Jake. He's like, just send it to Jake.
Yeah, I'll send it. Don't worry. I mean, yeah. Joe uses a flip phone, so getting him to get any message is not easy.
All right, no doubt. And then I finally got to lot 26. Right, I finally got there. Saw you as you were giving away the Jello shots and Nick Shine. And the best time of the game, a part of the game, was when I was out there with all my Asmaniacs. And like, love you all, appreciate you all, Kyle Clifton, everybody that came up and gave me a hug. They were like, "Are you Tommy?" I'm like, "Yeah." I don't even know. I didn't even think no one even knew who I was. I just came to see you and Nick Shine. But his son's bigger than me. His son's about like 7 foot tall. So Nick Shine, God bless your son. He's going to be tearing it up in football. Hopefully he could play for the Jets. And my only opinion on this shit is Jake, come on, bro. Like, for real. Aaron Glenn was a former Jet, okay? You were the second best cornerback to ever play for our team. But, I mean, you are abysmal as a coach, dude. Like, you don't even know what the F's going on in conversations after the game when you're in a press conference. Like, you're getting, like, shit. Like, you're getting laughed on, dude. You're getting laughed on. And it's like, if you can only just be a man and actually be accountable for what you fucked up and just admit, yes, we did this wrong, we did that wrong, we're going to try to move into this progress. No, he just lies about it like a scared little black cat on Halloween. Like, I don't understand what the fuck this guy's doing, dude. Like, this guy is abysmal. He's horrible. Yeah, I mean, how can you have this guy as a head coach?
He gets 10 games to try and turn it around, Tommy. Good call. I mean, look, I can't tell you anything I think Aaron Glenn is doing a good job at right now. I can't. You want to say that the defense has looked better the last 2 games? Okay, but, you know, to me, it's too little too late in a lot of sense from that perspective, right? Like, where were you the first 5 games of the year? And also, like, yeah, the Denver performance, very good. Denver's a good team. We saw them score 33 points in a quarter yesterday. Like every team's capable of playing well for a game or so. We saw the Jets offense look like the 07 Patriots for a game against the Steelers. But like yesterday, you went out there and you played a Panthers team that is awful on the road, was missing their starting quarterback for half the game, who got hurt. And like you didn't win ultimately. And like we could give credit to the defense, but did they force a turnover? Did they come up with a bunch of sacks? Like they were good yesterday, but that's not like, oh, the defense is fixed now. Like, okay, we need more though. We need more, man. We've seen the Jets have a good defense and the offense be dog crap. Aaron Glenn vowed to change that. He said he was a coach for the whole team, and he's not calling the plays. And he still had some bad clock and end of half questionable decision making. I don't know, man. I don't know. Open phone lines for those of you who want in. We got about 500 people watching. Please like the video. We only got one gifted membership so far. I'm going to gift one to the community right now. We'll give you a chance to win a Jets jersey at the end of the show. Appreciate all of you tuned in. Still watching, man. I mean, it's tough right now. I wish there was more we could cling on to. There just isn't. Sadly, the best thing to cling on to might be total ineptitude to the point where the owner is forced to make a change and can't be stubborn with his decision to hire this guy in the first place. Sad. I have gifted a channel membership, which means I get to pick the video that I want to play. Gator, encore.
For me personally, being able to ask other coaches that have been in a situation, how would they handle that?
Brutal. Frank says we're going to have to cling on to the tank after the bye. Yeah. Feels like it. Glenn called Dom Capers. Glenn called Woody. Glenn called Sly Stallone. Glenn called Denzel. He wants to know what Herman Boone would do with his quarterback decision. I don't know, man. We don't laugh, we'll cry again. For those who missed it, Aaron Glenn, when asked who his quarterback is, said this.
Where are you at in terms of the quarterback decision?
Well, that's something that, I want to continue to look at. Again, it's early on Monday, so I said this yesterday that there's a lot of thought that goes into that. For me personally, and then being able to get with the staff, and then just being able to ask other coaches that have been in a situation, how would they handle that? So I'm not running away from the question at all, Rich. The thing is, I want to make sure that I make the right decision, and I don't want to make rash decisions either, So I just want to make sure when the decision is made, it'll be the right one, and you guys will know that real soon.
Make the decision. You're the head coach. I mean, I would start Tyrod Taylor for what it's worth. It's just this whole staff just feels like they're so weighing over their heads when it comes to like anything to do with the quarterback spot or offense. And it just completely goes back on everything they said they were going to be able to do with Fields. Brutal. Glenn was asked earlier why the coaching staff hasn't been able to bring out the best in Fields. And like, to me, the reason why is because he's not your long-term answer. And anyone watching Justin Fields probably could have told you that. So I think the problem the Jets made was after they moved on from Rodgers, the way they talked about Justin Fields did them no favors. Because if you go back to their comments, and I played you some of them from Glenn, but there's even other ones from Muji I could pull. Like, the way they talked about him, they acted as though he was a guy that was on the cusp of like breaking out and being like the man. Muji compared it to Darnold and Baker Mayfield, I remember. I mean, you gave Justin Fields $30 million guaranteed. He can't complete a forward pass. It's hard. It's hard. It really is. Like, this is quarterback hell, but the worst kind of quarterback hell, because it's not like you have a young guy you could play and at least get the reps. Like, regardless of what happens with the Giants the rest of the way, that was a brutal loss for them yesterday that, Giant fans want Dable gone because he might be a good offensive coach for Dart, but you ever going to win with him if he's your head coach, right? Like, that's their discussion right now. But at least every Giant game, like, you go into it, you're excited to watch your young quarterback play, develop. He'll make mistakes, but he also will give you great moments. Like, that's fun even if you're 2-5. There's nothing right now. Like, the Jets are not fun to watch. They have not scored a touchdown in 2 games. And anytime they have scored a touchdown outside of one game on September 9th, the season opener, it's come when the game has already been decided. This is the worst kind of quarterback hell. Man, this is embarrassing. It's just, I don't know. I mean, not scoring a touchdown since the first half of week 1. Having 1 touchdown before the fourth quarter in their last 6 games, which came on a broken play with Fields using his legs. Come on. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, you try and come up with words to describe this year, and I'm like, the bar was low, but holy hell, man. A lot of arrogance around Glenn, Muji, this coaching staff about what they were going to be able to do with Fields, and they've got nothing from him. Nothing. What happened to this, AG?
He can galvanize a group of men. Listen, obviously he's a talented player, and listen, I'm happy that I have him as my quarterback. I really am, because I think the sky's the limit for this player. I really do. Listen, I'm not going to go out there and say that he's the next Joe Namath or anything like that. But I will tell you what, man, he's going to be a good player for us. And I'm excited what he's going to do for us this season.
Like, if you're that bullish on the guy, it can't look like this. And it can't look like this. And then you get to go pick the quarterback first in the draft. Why? Why would you then get the opportunity to do that? It makes no sense. They're taking a quarterback, whether it's at 1, 2, like, they're going to take a quarterback. And they were this wrong on Fields. Glenn has shown you to have no feel for that side of the ball, even though he said he would, and he clearly does not. So, like, the only way you'd feel better about it is if they start winning games now and they look like a real football team, but they haven't. And they're not going to, if we're being honest. Their offense is so limited with what they could do. They don't have Braylon Allen anymore. Garrett Wilson is banged up. We know that teams know the game plan to stop the Jets, sell out, stop the run, put pressure on both Fields and Tyrod because they hold on to the ball for a long time. You don't have a prayer. And I just feel like the Jets should not be betting on outliers. Oh, Dan Campbell started this or that. Like, yeah. But all these guys that have turned it around after bad starts, like even Kyle Shanahan, they're all offensive guys. Glenn's not an offensive guy. And here's another thing that really bothers me about Aaron Glenn, right? Saying they're going to do something and then doing the total opposite. I'm going to play you guys a cut from over the summer. This was during training camp. The Jets posted this video themselves. This was Aaron Glenn after Breece Hall caught a touchdown when being lined on the outside, right? Being lined up as a receiver. This is what Glenn said to Breece.
That's where we're going to open your game up this whole year. You know what I'm saying? Not just running the ball, but being able to do something like that. You dig what I'm saying? That's where your game going to open up, bro. Because it's a mismatch. Take you on anybody out there, any safety or linebacker. There we go. All good.
Okay. Then there's this from Zach Rosenblatt. Quote, this offseason, Aaron Glenn said many times how the Jets were going to unlock Breece Hall's potential as a pass catcher and told Breece as much. We're going to open up his game quite a bit. He's the type of guy you could split out wide and let him run the route tree because he could run it like a receiver. Hall has run 112 routes this season, which ranks 17th among running backs. At this time, last season, Breece Hall had run 186 routes, which ranked first. So Nathaniel Hackett, who I never thought utilized Breece properly, oh, by the way, actually used him better than how Engstrand and Glenn and company have used him. At this time last season, once again, Breece had 186 routes ran, which was first in the NFL. Now, the type of routes I questioned, but at least they gave him some screens and stuff last year, and Rodgers would check it to him, etc. The last 2 games, Breece Hall has run 29 routes, which is 26th among running backs, and he only has 3 targets, and they all came this past week. But they knew all week Garrett Wilson wasn't going to play. Breece Hall didn't get a single target for the first time in his career in the game against the Broncos in London. Only 1.8% of Breece's routes have been screen routes, which ranks 47th of 62 qualifying running backs. That's from True Media. It's just, this is what we're talking about. Not having the confidence in this coach to communicate to his play caller, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like that. That's why a young quarterback would fail with this staff, in my opinion. That's why I don't trust him. Like, it is bad, man. They are really, really bad. And look, let me say this too. Like, it's not just Glenn, right? Put Muji in there too, but Glenn and Muji, like Muji reports to Glenn. Woody referred to Muji as Glenn's sidekick at the presser. Yesterday, that wide receiver room was embarrassing. To go into a game in 2025 with Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, and Arian Smith, who's a 7th-round talent that got overdrafted in the 4th round. For those to be the 3 wide receivers that played the most snaps. Come on, man. It's not like the Jets wide receiver room all had COVID, like what happened to the Browns that helped the Jets get their second win in 2020. Garrett was the only notable wide receiver injury. And how often did we say on this show or any of your favorite shows, hey, man, they're short of receiver. God forbid something happens to Garrett. They neglected it. And then, okay, if you're going to neglect it, do you have a game plan to overcome losing Garrett Wilson? Are you going to feature Breece Hall? No. They didn't do it. There's nothing I could point to that makes me feel good about this team. There's some individual players that I think, give you some hope. Mason Taylor. I thought Malachi Moore had a good game yesterday. He's improving. McNamara, the punter's good. Nick Folk is Nick Folk. The Sauce was great yesterday. Only targeted once and had the pass breakup. Like, we could find some things, but man, you're 0-7. Oh, like Aaron Glenn won 2 challenges yesterday. Great. Win a game, man. You're the only team in the league that hasn't been able to do that. All right. 30 minutes left in the show here. I'm on the radio tonight, so let me get to some super chats and more of your calls. We are going to give away a Jets jersey at the end of the show. There's only been a couple memberships that have been gifted so far, but a few more just were. Mark Yanchenko in the Asmaniac raffle for 5.
I'm gonna do my silly dance, cause we're built like shit. What kind of a question is that? We have the moral victories. My team has no wins. Woo!
Mark in the raffle for 5. DJ Jibbs in the raffle for 1. Also, super chat. He says, thanks for the Jets content every day. Best part of my Monday routine. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate that. I always picture, and I've said this before, what it will be like if the Jets are ever good and we get to do these shows, man. We haven't even had one Victory Monday yet this year. I have like a shirt that I wear only on Mondays in the season when the Jets win. And I've barely worn it the last couple of years. But I have a Victory Monday shirt, and I can't even wear it. I don't even know if I want to wear it now. Because by the time they win, it's going to be, against the Saints, in week 16 or against the Bills in week 18 when they're sitting their starters. Ugh. It's bad. Turkleton says, elevate Brady Cook and start him. Why not? I think we're going to get to a point where they are going to start getting him ready to play. I don't think we're there yet necessarily, but it's coming. He will start a game this year for the Jets. I really believe that. At least one. Rude says, I was fighting the Fields guys yesterday because they were criticizing Tyrod for throwing 2 picks. He's at least taking chances. What's the argument there? Smooth brain stuff. Yeah, I'm not sitting here trying to tell you Tyrod played great yesterday, but being at the game, Tyrod was the better quarterback. He tried. He made plays. He wasn't just going to sit there and just take sacks. And that's the other thing with Fields, right? And the other thing why I question Glenn's ability to have any feel for the quarterback position. Justin Fields is not a pocket quarterback. He told the media this past week his legs have not felt right since the Miami game because he has a leg contusion he's been dealing with. Why didn't you bench him and just say, hey, his legs aren't healthy. We're going to Tyrod for the second half. It wouldn't have even been, oh, Fields got benched to the performance. It's, oh, he's injured and we're making a change to protect him. You didn't have to worry about, oh, there's quarterback controversy now. What do we do? None of that. If Justin Fields can't use his legs, he's useless. He's Zach Wilson bad in the pocket, if not worse. And they knew this. They knew he was compromised, right? They didn't call one design run for Fields in the game against the Broncos. They did a little bit more yesterday, but he was so bad as a passer, you didn't have a choice. It just shows me you don't have a feel for the position. You don't know how to evaluate. It's bad. Aunt Jen says, raffle for Reverend Norman Bates, starting Glenn called. Reverend, you're saying he called Reverend Norman Bates, I think. C says, Jets so down bad, we didn't even do player intros. I did notice that. They didn't introduce either the offense or the defense. They just had everyone run out. Cincy Matt says, doesn't matter who starts when you have no game plan and just don't know how to utilize your weapons correctly. Also, you may see a certain Asmaniac with Nick Shine this Sunday. Cincy Matt, let's go. Hey, congrats on your team's winning in advance. God. You're going to get a chance to watch the Jets up close, Cincy Matt. Appreciate your support as always. I'm glad you're connected with Nick Shine, though. I don't know why Nick still wants to go to this game. He's driving 10 hours to go to it, but God bless him. Pork writes in, let's snatch up the coaching staff and replace them with Asmaniacs. I'll tell you what, it would certainly be a hell of a lot more entertaining. Because let's be real, right? If we did replace Aaron Glenn with an Asmaniac, right? Like, let's say they did that. Are we sure it would be any worse? Seriously. It's not a bit. If we, let's say, put Beastbreaker out there on the sidelines as the head coach of the Jets, would he not have the same amount of wins as Aaron Glenn right now? Beastbreaker has the same exact number of wins that Aaron Glenn has. Does he not? Right? Aaron Glenn says, we're built for this shit. Beastbreaker farts. Either way, they involve the Derriere region, right? Aaron Glenn says we're going to win now. Beastbreaker says this.
You could kiss my big, big ass. Woo!
Definitely something to ponder. Mr. Chill King says, I don't understand how our offense is centered around Wilson, Davis, and Breece. The others are just side items. What are they doing? That's my whole point. That's my whole point. Breece Hall, 3 targets yesterday. Why? It was a 1-score game for most of the game. Breece is your second best wide receiver, I'm sure. Line him up. I don't get it. All right. Let's get back to your calls here before we wrap up the show. Last chance to get in on the raffle at the end of the show and the weekly raffle tomorrow. We give away a signed JJ jersey, signed Corbett football, signed Joe Namath helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello right now to Robin Boy Wonders. Hello, Robin.
Hey, what's up, Jake? How are you guys doing out there today?
What's up, Robin? Love the Nick hat. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, I'm already moved on. It's crazy. I bought Jets.
Uh-oh, we lost you, Robin. Yeah, we can't hear you. Here, reset your stream guard. We'll come back to you. We'll try and get Robin back. But I do love the Nick hat. That is money. Let's get to more of your calls, and as Robin will try and call back. The link is pinned for anyone who wants to call in on the show. Reminder, first-time callers, you get 2 raffle tickets when you call in. Let's say hello to Rob, the Jet fan, is next. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Jake. Another shit show. I mean, I just couldn't believe, Jake, how we were losing 13-6, and it seemed like we were losing by like 5 touchdowns. I mean, our offense is so inept. I mean, I just never felt that we were ever going to score that touchdown. And I was hoping because they put in Tyrod, but it was like unbelievable how dead we were in the water there. And let me tell you, Jake, I do truly believe that if we did have Aaron Rodgers, we'd be at least 3 wins, maybe best case scenario 4. I'm not saying they would be 6-1 right now or 5-2, but 3-4, maybe 4-3 possibly, and we'd at least be in the thick of things, especially with this schedule, Jake. You know, we were the few here who spoke about it and wanted Aaron Rodgers back. And you wanted him back badly. I wanted him, Bonesy, Neil. We all wanted him back, but they treated him like shit. But let's be honest with you. You know, they treated him like crap. Because if that story is correct, I mean, how can you treat a future Hall of Famer like that who did nothing but give back money to the organization? He gave back $35 million to get players. He was also there wanting to come back this year, take another pay cut, Jake, and kind of promising that also Devontae would come with it. There's your second receiver. There's a quarterback who can at least throw the ball 5 yards to get us the first down to kick the winning field goal. But you know, a lot of people didn't want this. A lot of people wanted to go with Aaron Glenn. And you know what, Jake? Another thing that would have been better if we went in and hired Mike McCarthy, who obviously worked with Aaron Rodgers and won a Super Bowl. If we had hired Mike McCarthy, we could have went another year this year, depending on how Aaron Rodgers is. We could have still picked our quarterback for the future. And Aaron could have taught him. And we could be making the playoffs this year. And even if it wasn't the playoffs, Jake, even if it was 7 or 8 wins, but we're fixing things, we're rebuilding a couple of things here and there in the secondary. And now we're at least prepared for the future. With the quarterback, you got Mike McCarthy, knowing that he at least knows how to pick quarterbacks and you know, for the future. And us as Maniac and Jet fans, we'd be so happy right now for the future. We wouldn't have to go through the dog shit that we're going right now, Jake. I mean, none of this bullshit of what we're going through right now. We're sitting here, and this is, I went through co-type, and this is just as bad, if not, we're almost past the point of being worse than co-type right now. I think I'm there already. I know. For me, Jake, I hate to watch the games and root for them to lose, but I'm sorry. They might have to bottom out 0-17 to get rid of this clown, Glenn, because it's kind of like what you said. If he wins 2 or 3 games at the end of the season, they might think of a reason of keeping this guy. And under no circumstances, Jake, no circumstances do I want this clown back. I don't want him back. I don't give a crap if he wins 3-4 games. And this is going to be false hope. And we're going to have to go through this another year, Jake. Another year.
3-4 wins. I mean, that Rob feels incredibly unlikely, right? Like, that's how bad it is, man. Like 3-4 wins, like where? Now, look, any given Sunday, I get all that, but Cincinnati now is not going to overlook you. They need the game. They understand that their win Thursday, 10 days to prepare. They got a great opportunity to get back to 500 now, and they have a lot to play for. They're alive. They know they get Burrow back in December. Flacco's provided a boost. Cleveland, that defense, they're going to be able to stifle the Jets' offense, and Cleveland will be able to score just enough points. New England on a short week in their building? No. Ravens in their building? No, not with Lamar back. Atlanta, I mean, I don't think Atlanta's a great team, but they're better than the Jets, obviously. Miami on December 7th, New Orleans, and Buffalo resting their starters last game of the year. I think those are the 3 games they could win. I guess they could win the Browns game because the Browns quarterback situation is very bad, but their defense is very, very good. That game against the Dolphins on December 7th could be for the number 1 pick. Man. That'll be the toilet bowl. Mark writes in with a super chat. Fields also got tackled with his helmet off against the Broncos. That would have been the perfect time to send him to the tent for precautionary reasons, then have him sit out the rest of the game. Yeah, they could have done that, but then he cleared the protocol. I guess he came right back in. Man. Mike says Rodgers must be laughing his ass off. Oh, I'm sure he loves it, right? I'm sure he loves it. Like, here's the thing. Whether it was the right move or the wrong move to move on from Aaron Rodgers, when it was handled this way, maybe that should have gave us a little worried about, hey, is Aaron Glenn, are we sure we know he knows what he's doing when this is the statement he wanted to make to the rest of his team on how he wanted to handle a Hall of Fame quarterback on his way out?
I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. I was like, then he comes back with the GM. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office. And I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country. And 20 seconds in, he goes, I mean, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on. That's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. And I said, verbatim, I don't give a shit about the message. And I said, why? And then he said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you.
Interesting.
And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying? I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team. 20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there.
Like, I listen to that now, and like, could that have aged any worse? Seriously, and knowing what we now know about Glenn, right? I believe Rodgers there. I believe that's exactly what happened. I think when Rodgers said, people were like, oh, he's just being dramatic again. But knowing what we know about Glenn, doesn't that check out to exactly how it went down? Like that's terrible. Like they really believed they were going to do better than Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Which they could move on, but then don't try and sell us on Justin Fields. That's what Glenn said to Rodgers. And then this was Glenn in June talking about what they're going to do with Fields this year. It's all bullshit.
He can galvanize a group of men. Listen, obviously he's a talented player. And listen, I'm happy that I have him as my quarterback. I really am. Because I think the sky's the limit for this player. I really do. Listen, I'm not going to go out there and say that he's the next Joe Namath or anything like that. But I will tell you what, man, he's going to be a good player for us. And I'm excited what he's going to do for us this season.
And now he's on the bench, and you give him $30 million. I mean, come on, man. $30 million guaranteed, $40 million overall. We're watching Aaron Rodgers throw the 70-yard Hail Mary at the end of the game on Thursday, throw 4 touchdowns. He's on a team that's 4-2. He was good enough for Mike Tomlin, but he's not good enough for Aaron Glenn? Come on, man. It never jived with me. And I said it at the time. I wanted Rodgers back. Also because I wanted Devontae back, who had 3 touchdowns yesterday. But here's my thing, right? Rodgers not being here, it doesn't bother me because I think the Jets would be so much better with him. I think this team would still be a mess with Aaron Rodgers because he's not playing that much differently than he did last year. He's just in a better environment. People are actually appreciating when he changes plays at the line of scrimmage and gets them in the right call because they're winning games. See, Fields can't do that. Teams want to stack the box against Aaron Rodgers. He'll check out of it and be able to call the right play to get his team in position to have a chance. Fields, you have no chance to do that. He doesn't process well. He doesn't see the field. And if he can't use his legs, he's useless, right? So when, like, Rodgers is doing the exact same things he did with the Jets last year, he's probably playing a little better. He's another year removed from the injury. But you look at Aaron Rodgers' last 10 games last year, no one wanted to hear it when I would bring it up. 18 touchdowns against 4 interceptions. His last game as a Jet, he threw 4 touchdowns. We don't need to pretend like Aaron Rodgers now is just turning back the clock. He threw 28 touchdowns last year. It wasn't all in garbage time. They led the NFL in blown fourth quarter leads. The Jets can't even get to the lead with a fourth quarter this year. Last year, they were horribly coached, but they were talented enough and quarterbacked well enough to have a chance in these games. They just couldn't close. This year, the quarterback play is so much worse. They don't have a chance to even get to the fourth quarter to blow the lead. They trail by 10 plus every game. Imagine Rodgers with this offensive line, by the way, it would look a lot different. But I don't think it would have mattered if Rodgers was here because I think this head coach is so terrible. I have no faith in this offensive coordinator that I think with Aaron Rodgers, instead of the Jets being 0-7, maybe they're 3-4 right now. Maybe. I don't even know. And then everyone would be blaming Rodgers. How could you bring him back? What are you doing? Glenn would get a chance to pick his guy. And then we'd be delaying what we're eventually would then find out that he might not be able to be an NFL head coach, that he's probably not deserving of picking his own quarterback. All I know is this. Of the number 1 quarterbacks in the draft the last 10 years, most of them lose their head coach either in the middle of their first year or right after. Cam Ward, the latest example. Caleb Williams last year. Matt Eberflus got fired before the year ended. Bryce Young, Frank Reich got fired in the middle of his first season. Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer got fired in the middle of his first season. Burrow, no. That's the exception. Kyler Murray, no, but they couldn't fire Cliff in the middle of his first year because they just fired Wilkes after a year, and Cliff was hired to coach Murray. But Baker Mayfield, his coach got fired after year 1 or during year 1. Jared Goff, Jeff Fisher, yeah. Like, if the Jets are bad enough to be picking 1-1 in the NFL draft, that means you're already a horribly coached team. Because if you have any semblance of coaching ability, you're not finishing with the worst record in football. If you have any coaching acumen, you're not number 1 in the NFL. Not in wins, but in having the worst record, in losses. And that's been my point the whole time. If this team's in position to be this bad, clean break, reset. Because there's legitimate talent on this team. There is. Their win total was not 1. It was 6.5 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Gase won 2 football games. You can't, for the love of God, justify retaining this staff if they're picking first overall in the draft. Can't do it. All right, your remaining calls here. Let me get to a few super chats here. Dominic in the house. Man, I don't think I've seen the whole take from Rodgers on Glenn. That's a rough look for him and definitely mishandled. It's not a good look at all. Macy, super chat. Jake, Dable's Giants lost yesterday in far more embarrassing manner than Glenn has, so it happens to experience too. Give Glenn another season. This has been learning, humbling experience. Love the show. I will not give Aaron Glenn another season, Macy, if they're sitting there with 2 wins or less. Even 3, I don't know. I have to see what it looks like. Right? If you beat the Bills in week 18 to go from 3 wins to 4 wins, I don't care. Not when they're not playing their starters because they're resting all of them. Right? Brian Dable, I don't think should have a job right now, Macy. I don't think Dart is going to save his job. I don't think you could find another offensive coach or a coach that could work with Jackson Dart. Brian Dable's not a quarterback guru, by the way. He didn't develop Josh Allen. Josh Allen's unbelievable. That's what happened. Look at the list of quarterbacks Dable's worked with since. You don't think Daniel Jones balling out right now is a poor indictment of Brian Dable's coaching prowess? He couldn't make it work with that guy. So just because Dable might not be good doesn't mean that Glenn should get another year. Nah. If you know, you know. Aaron Glenn is very close to Joe Judge. Talked and then was not able to back up anything he preached. In fact, Aaron Glenn is Joe Judge if Aaron Glenn never played in the NFL. I'm not giving Glenn another season if it remains this bad. I want to give him another season if over the next 10 games, the Jets go out there and look like a real football team that's well coached. But we're just delaying the inevitable here. If they keep him and he picks a quarterback, he'll be fired in the middle of next year at this time or right after the year ends. We're going to go through another losing season. Then we're going to have major questions on, did we pick the wrong quarterback? Is it the quarterback? It's like, no, man, it's the coach. He never should have been in position to do it anyway. That's what I don't want. Retrospect says Flacco with the number of design runs as Fields lately. It's a joke. Gabe says, other than winning the next 10 in a row, is there anything Glenn could do to win back the fan base? He doesn't need to win 10 in a row. He doesn't need to win 10 in a row. Can you go 3-5? Right? Or let's see, 10 games left. Can you go? That would be 8, so that wouldn't work. I mean, 4-6, right? Maybe you win a division game you're not supposed to. AK, you beat New England on Thursday night in primetime and you look representable in some of these other games. Like, we know what it looks like. Like, Brian Flores got off to an 0-7 start with an awful Dolphins team. Then he won some games. They looked well coached. We got to see it, man. Even Adam Gase, who started 1-7, gave you a fake 7-9 season with way worse talent. It's a joke, man. It really is. Ladies and gentlemen, Bowling Jet writes in, I had an amazing experience sitting next to Big Cho. He's a great guy. Thank you to everyone for voting me, and the tailgate was tremendous as always. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Pins is the username Bowling Jet, and yesterday he sat next to Big Cho to experience the greatness that is the Jets and the Panthers. And joining us right now on the Gus Buster Umbrella Hotline is the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a Cho pill. Big Cho is next. Gator says, I think Big Cho might need an intro.
Big Cho. Yeah, it's nice. I like my recliner. No, I just called to check in. Big Cho. I don't like all those wrinkles on my head. I don't have that many wrinkles. We're talking about Big Cho. My implants are coming in 3 months.
The Kardashian ones?
Put the jet gear on for you. Been running some errands early. Came home just chilling. Big Cho. Jake.
Big Cho.
What is up, my brother?
Big Cho, it was an honor to meet you in person yesterday. You were the big star of the entire day.
You know what? It was my pleasure meeting you and the rest of the Asmaniacs. And I want to tell you something. You know, living here in the South, I'm originally from D.C., the area, so that's kind of like in the middle. But now I live in the South. And to be honest with you, the northern people have a bad reputation as far as being too much in a hurry, rude, only looking out for themselves, things of that nature. But I'm here to tell you that firsthand that all those people that are from New Jersey and New York that were at that tailgate that took care of me and looked after me first and foremost and treated me like a celebrity. I was freaking signing things like I played for the Jets.
I told you were, Big Cho. I knew you were going to be a big star at the tailgate.
It was unbelievable. And just for people looking out after me, I mean, like, I can't name them all, but like Snowball got me the golf cart to go to the stadium when it was time to leave. You know, I got to meet Dre Day. I signed something, a jersey from him. Papa Jet, Team Curry, Lumpy. I sat about 2 seats from him. I sat next to to Kyle. I mean, all those people are fantastic. They're like family to me, and I only met them for a weekend. I mean, it just goes to show you your fan base is unbelievable, man. And I'll still love the Jets till the day I die.
Well, Big Joe, you were a big hit yesterday, but I got to ask you about this moment here with the esteemed 4%ers who couldn't wait to talk with you. What was it like to be the ladies' man at the tailgate, Big Joe?
Oh, it was awesome. They had some very fine looking ladies. I'm gonna tell you, the girls up in North Carolina, the girls in New York, in New Jersey, they look really good. I saw a lot of attractive girls or ladies, I would say, probably in their 30s or 40s. Calm your freaky down. That looked fantastic yesterday. And so, plus I told you my lady friend that picked me up at the airport on Saturday, she's a Jersey girl. And I met her at spring break. So I was attracted to her right off the get when she was from New Jersey in her sorority with the big Jersey hair. She still looks fantastic.
Hey, Joe, what was it like to hold court with so many people? That spot where we had the chair for you to sit, and people just coming up to you. What was it like?
Oh, it was unbelievable, man. Like I said, I felt like celebrity. I felt like I was a player. I haven't had that feeling since back in my playing days of basketball.
Well, Big Joe, we couldn't have done this event without you, so I'm glad you had a great time. And I'm glad that you and Peter Pins were able to sit next to each other and create lifetime memories.
Yeah, Peter's a trip. I wanted to shout out to him. And also, before I forget, a mad shout out to Eric Kelly. He came up to me when I was sitting down and said, "Yo, Cho, I want to meet you and everything." And I shook his hand and he said, "Listen, I live right by your Airbnb, so don't worry about getting the Uber. I'm going to take you home." So he found me towards the end of the game, and then he found me on the field and walked with me and gave me a ride to my Airbnb. So shout out to Eric Kelly.
Love it. He called in earlier on the first show to recap the car ride with you, Big Joe. So check that out when you get time, all right?
What did he say?
He said that you guys had a great time.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. That saved me some money and just have somebody looking out for me. I mean, he went out of his way to take me back to the Airbnb because I told you it was an adventure trying to get to the game because my Uber driver didn't speak English.
Did he speak Cho?
He didn't speak Cho either. And he didn't know where to go. So he didn't speak Cho, didn't know where to go, couldn't get with the flow, and he was going to drop me off on the highway. He sent me a little translator thing in his phone that said, "If you don't get out now, we'll just go in circles." And I said, "Yo, I'm not getting out on the highway. There's no way in the tailgate." I said, "Just drop me off with somebody that's wearing green." And then he found somebody and happened to be across the street. So I just asked some Jet fans where E26 was. They said, "It's across the street and way down there." So I had to go across the street. Thank God there's a guy there controlling traffic, or I'd have been roadkill. And I went across the street and I took a walk to E26. I had to take one break, but I made it. But I didn't think I was going to make it with that Uber driver because he was tripping.
Well, Big Joe, not only did you make it, but you were a big part of the day's event. So I'm glad that you were able to be a part of all of it. And I can't wait for the next time you and I meet, all right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to come back next year for another meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Big Joe. Thank you, Big Joe. All right, last call here because I'm on the radio in 30 minutes. So listen on Sirius XM. Last chance to get in the raffle for tomorrow. 3 items. Namath helmet, signed by Joe. Corbett football, signed by Corbett. JJ jersey, signed by JJ. Last chance, Super Chat to get in there. $10 or higher, a gift of membership. Also, let me read this one from Tyrone, who checks in. For me, it's a lost year. I'd start Brady Cook rest of the year. You never know what you have unless you use him. It's too early for that because if he's not ready, you can't lose the locker room this early. right? Tyrod's still a pro. I'd start him. You can run your offense with him. We will see Brady Cook by the end of the year, though. I think that's where this year is headed. Big fella. Big Cho was awesome. Big fella. One more thing. Big Cho. Definitely not a chump. Hell yeah. That was a tremendous call by Big Cho right there. Thank you to Ralphie for that one. All right, one last call. Let's go international. What are people in Australia saying about Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets? We asked the man who could tell us. Craig in Australia. Hello, Craig.
Mate, how you going? I've got to say straight away, it's only 8 a.m. here, but that call by Cho has made my day. I am so happy for him that he had a great day. Everything in Discord, all the photos involved him. He was there with his throne. I just want to say to Cho, I'm glad you had an incredible time. Glad that the Asmaniacs looked after him, and I've said it to you a million times. Look what you've done with this incredible community. And as for what Australia thinks about Glenn, do you know what the most sickening thing about week 7 was? It wasn't our game. It was Thursday night football, Bengals Steelers at the end, where T. Higgins slides inside the 5, and then Flacco kneels out the Steelers timeouts and they kick the field goal. And I thought, we couldn't fucking do that in a million years. Something as basic as that. And that just summed up, the end of that game summed up everything that's wrong with what we've got. And it doesn't matter what happens now. He should never survive the season. Woody should be already looking for the next coach. That's what he should be doing now. I'm sure he's not. But all I can tell you is we're not getting up at 2:30 in the morning to watch games right now. So there's not much we can do about it.
I feel you. It's brutal, Craig. I mean, I would love to be like, yeah, like it's gonna get better, but I don't know, man.
Oh, it's not.
I really want Aaron Glenn to be the guy, but I think he's in over his head. He has like sometimes you just know, man. Hackett had the same problem in Denver. Urban Meyer and Jackson.
That's exactly right.
I was talking to a Patriots fan this morning about this because unfortunately, even though I hate them, I have a lot of friends who root for that awful team. And they were like, what you're describing was what we saw with Mayo last year. And I'm like, that's kind of where this is headed. It doesn't change quick.
We're not losing from bad luck. We're losing because he's an idiot. As I said, if we were in that exact same situation that from Thursday Night Football, we would not have done what they did to win the game. We just wouldn't have, because it was the obvious thing to do. Even to me, someone who's been watching this game only a couple of years. So what are you going to do? We'll just enjoy each other's company and have a good time. That's all we can do, and we have you to thank for this.
Well, Craig, you're the man. I appreciate you. Hang in there, all right? I don't blame you for getting up at 2 a.m. to watch the Jets anymore. Great call by Craig. Chad with a $2 super chat. Chad, if you meant to attach a comment to this, throw it in. I'll try and find it. Ralphie in the raffle for 2. Shout out to Ralphie. I ran a marathon yesterday and was probably in less pain than if I was there watching that game in person. Listening on radio and Fields was sacked and crowd was cheering like a Carolina home game. And there weren't even that many Panthers fans there, Ralphie. There just were a lot of empty seats. So the Panthers fans who were there, they sounded louder maybe on radio. I could tell you, though, there weren't a lot of Panthers fans there. There were some, but this wasn't Pittsburgh or Buffalo, right, invading the Jet Stadium. And I've been to a bunch of Jet games over the last couple of years. That was by far the worst environment for any Jet game I've been at. This fan base is defeated. There's apathy. It's bad. By the way, I was able to find the photo in the Discord. Here's Big Cho and Peter Pins. Someone snagged this one at the game. What a moment. What a time. All right. We are going to do the Asmaniac raffle here shortly. We're going to be giving away a Jets jersey of your choosing. So who's going to get it? That is a question everyone wants to know. I understand that question. So ladies and gentlemen, before I can answer said question, there's a clip that needs to be played. And after it's done being played, a raffle prize shall be rewarded. A jersey of your choosing.
You sons of bitches. I got a problem with my prepaid card, and I'm trying to fix it. There's some bogus charge on my card, and I don't like the sign of that.
Hey, Beast, which tank top do you like?
I'm not interested in tank tops. Those are for girls. What the hell is wrong with you? Give me someone American I can speak to. Give me someone American I can talk to.
Why are you so upset?
I already gave you the account number. Why are you sitting here BSing me? Well, you're sitting there with your hand up your ass. Hello? I had a problem fighting with one of the idiots on the phone. Couldn't speak one blatant word of English.
What did they charge you?
$9.99.
So this is all over $10? What's your Venmo, Beast? You have a Venmo? I'll give you $10 right now to make you whole.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Jason-Storm-31. You're down $9.99?
Yes.
Here you go, buddy. You've been made whole.
New password, and I can't even get one. I don't even know a password. I'm trying something here.
Gator says, was Beast the best choice as your tech support engineer? I still believe in him, Gator. Absolutely.
I tried raunchy 14. Didn't want to work. Minimize 8 characters, maximum 20. You son of a bitch.
Hey, try on Meatball 69. Hogwarts 350 LBs.
Hey, watch it. Got it. Oh, bullshit, man. Really getting me really ridiculous. This is so fucking stupid. I don't know what the fuck. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the part of the call where Beast turns his camera off and he's gone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we needed a laugh, did we not? I think we did. So one more laugh before we get to the raffle.
People think I don't want to work, which is not true. I just had a bit of a nap not too long ago, too, so that didn't help.
Love it, dude.
You're talking about how people don't.
You can't say that people think you don't want a job and then say that you came off a real good nap. It's a hard 2 sentences to put together, Charles. It is. You got Jake off the camera.
How do you not see the irony of that, Charles? This is why Charles is the best of the best. All right. Now let's do a raffle.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see the Wheel of Champions on your screen. We just got a super chat as that intro for the raffle was playing from RJR. And RJR, I will make sure that we add you in the raffle. Hit the music. He says, I've been watching you for a while. I love your passion for the Jets. The team has given up. We keep going through the same thing. Please don't let Glenn pick anything in the draft. See, I don't think they've given up. I think the defense is still playing hard. I think there's guys on offense who want to win. I just think their biggest issue is they are not put in the best positions to have a chance to win. And some of it is poor roster construction by the coach and GM who worked hand in hand on it. I think that's a problem. Now, RJR, I'm going to add you to the raffle for 2. You're officially in there. Thank you for the support, though, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who continues to watch all these shows about a team that has not made the playoffs in 15 years, has not won a division title in over 20, has not won more than 7 games in 10, has not had a winning season in 10. You get the point. Love all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions. If you win, let me know via email, asmanjake@gmail.com. Name, address, player you want the jersey in, size, and color. Your winner is Macy. Macy, you're the winner. Shoot me an email. We'll figure out how to get you a jersey. Congratulations to Macy. I got to run, so hit the Jet chant real quick. All right. Again, thank you all. Sorry I couldn't stay on longer here on a Monday, but we did go for 3 hours with Badingo on the first show today. So check that out. If you guys want more content, I'm on the radio in 20 minutes. In for Stephen A. 6 to 8, Sirius XM, Channel 82. That's Mad Dog Sports Radio. So I'm working. And hopefully you guys can tune in. If not, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Sabo at 10 a.m. Take us out of here, Charles.
Just put myself in these goddamn situations.
Nah.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets!